Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So in front of us is the 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD Offroad, finished off in a very unique electric lime. We'll also go over the MSRP for this model once we go over all the specs and features and get this midsize truck out on the road. So let's start off with what powers the Tacoma. It is still using the 3.5 liter V6. However, it has the Atkinson cycle technology, which has been in the last fewer models. This model here is also paired to the 6-speed manual transmission, which gives it that 5-foot bed. It pumps out 278 horsepower, 265 pound-feet of torque. That power is primarily sent to the rear wheels. However, it does have the 4-wheel drive system. Weighs in right around 4,400 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in the mid 7-second range with a top speed of 130. And as far as fuel economy, you're looking at 17 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. This also has ground clearance of 9.4 inches and a pretty good approach, departure, and breakover angle. But let's work our way to the exterior styling now, where we have the gray trim for the entire grille, forward-facing sensor in that Toyota badge, plenty of cutouts as well. And this even has the LED package. So it gets the LED DRLs, headlights, turn signals. Fog lights are still not DRLs, however. And for the TRD Offroad, the front bumper valance comes in the plastic trim. It's interesting to note though that for this TRD Offroad, the fender flares are body colored, so I'm surprised that that bumper valance is not yet body colored as an option. Now there's skid plates up underneath and then really nice lines that meet the entire surround for that grille very nicely. As we move on to the side, this has 17-inch wheels along with the Bilstein tuned suspension to give it that off-road performance. You already saw the body-colored fender flares. This truck also has some aftermarket side steps, which are steel. You could probably use these as a rock slider too if you needed to. Now this does have body-colored side mirrors with that integrated turn signal. There's also some vinyl in between both of the windows just to tie that in a little bit more nicely. And then for the Tacoma, I think it has a really good side design. I love the lower line there that works its way to the rear bed. There's also another crisp line just above that rear fender arch. This has the side exit exhaust on that passenger side too. And then for the rear, it does not have LED taillights, but they have a nice inner housing to them. Tacoma is also on the release handle with the backup camera. Tacoma is in the lower section. A lot of companies are doing that. I think it looks really nice. This has body colored for the end caps for the bumper, all the parking sensors. It can even tow 6,400 pounds. Now, realistically, from personal experience, 4,500 to 5,000 pounds is probably the max you want to do with this truck, but it can tow more if you really need to. Now, as you just saw, we have the soft opening tailgate and then the 5-foot bed. This has an optional mat in it. There's a 3-prong outlet, a little bit of storage, and plenty of tie-down hooks. And I've loved my Tacoma. I love the 5-foot bed. There's the debate between the 5-foot versus the 6-foot. I have had no issues with my 5-foot. Personally, I think it looks a lot nicer. And then of course you can get whatever top you need that is going to work best for your truck. Now for the backseat room, you'll notice first on the door panel, we have some nice materials on the armrest, plenty of storage, along with some trim around that window control there. And this truck has two-tone for the cloth seats. So I think it gives it a great look. Now, as far as interior room actually goes, at 5'10", it is a little bit crammed. I've been in the back of my own truck before, and it's good around town. I won't go on long trips with it. 2 cup holders in the middle for you if you need it. And as far as headroom, I have about a 1/2 inch or so. So they are usable. I like having the quad cab for my Tacoma because I do use them for extra storage too. But this has a power sliding rear glass, and then there's even more hidden storage space underneath all of these seats, which is what I really love, especially for this size. So especially underneath both of the bottoms, this compartment goes all the way across on the passenger side, and there's even additional storage behind both backrests. So you have this compartment, you have a compartment about twice as big over behind that seat. If you don't opt for the JL audio, that gives you a lot more space. And you'll notice too, with the hard backing on the back, if you fold up the bottom and then you fold that flat, you can place in a lot more items and not risk damaging any of the cloth. So it makes it a lot more versatile. Now the door panel up front, very similar to the rear, of course, with all the window adjustments. You have your mirror adjustments too. And this even gets a power driver seat with that same two-tone design. And this truck, like I mentioned earlier, has the 5-foot bed. It also has no proximity key because we have the turn key for that 6-speed manual. You cannot get the smart key or the power key, whatever you want to call it, for the manual transmission. So you only get the turn key. Now, before I actually turn this on, I do have the accessories on. You can push on the clutch start cancel. So as long as the vehicle is in neutral, I don't have to have my foot on the clutch to fire this up. So just depending on if you're off-roading in situations like that, or you just don't want to push the clutch in, you can easily do that. Now, it will not stay in that position when I shut this off and turn it back on. I think that would be a cool ability for that to do. But now that we're in the interior, steering wheel has a nice design to it with the solid and perforated leather. We have the cruise control stalk along with the distance pacing and the lane keeping assist. On this left side, there is volume and tuning for the radio along with Bluetooth and voice commands. And then these arrows here will actually adjust the gauge cluster. So you'll see the tach and the engine temperature on that left side. Right side is miles per hour and the fuel level. And then you can go through a lot more, like your time until rest. You have your distance, your fuel economy. You can even pull up your distance till empty and miles per hour. You can scroll over and look at the pitch and the roll, so you can monitor those when you are off-road, along with your TPMS and your cruise control and lane keeping assist. There's any messages, and then you have all these settings to go into just to configure these as you'd like to. So not a whole lot of info, but it gives you everything front and center. Now also over on this left side, we have the control for that power outlet in the bed, automatic headlights, there's also a cargo light, and then traction control, and some nice trim surrounding one air vent. It actually works its way to the center infotainment system here, where you will see an air vent on both sides. And then right in the middle, we have this touchscreen system here where we have home and menu on this left side. So if I go into menu, you can pull up audio and phone. Projection is how you can actually pair your phone to this system. And if you opt for the navigation, you can pull that up, or you can use projection for your phone. Going back to home, you will see the split screen for audio and phone, along with a range there, which is configurable, so you can pull up something else. There's also seek and track, phone and apps, power and volume, and tuning for the radio. And then just underneath that, you will see all the climate adjustments. So right in the middle is the fan speed. These dials are also multifunctional, so you can have sync and auto, and then temperature are the dials on the outsides. And you have a few other controls located within the middle there. Now on this left side, there's the 4-wheel drive selector along with the heated side mirrors. And this even has the blind spot monitoring, parking sensors, which you can turn on and off, of course, that rear sliding glass, a 12-volt, a USB, even a wireless charger. So that is that large pad down below where you could easily place your phone. Now to put this into reverse, let's push it all the way to the left and up. You will see that backup camera up here with some really good guidelines. And then of course we have the rest of these 6 gears, which we'll talk about once we get this out on the road. A little bit of storage and 2 cup holders behind that, along with the manual parking brake. So that is still incorporated into the Tacoma. And right in the middle, good amount of storage space with some auxiliaries so you can charge electronics. Plenty more room in the glove box. Tacoma is also stamped to match that tailgate. And then up top, you will see a sunglass holder, which is nice to have, the 8-track system, and the rear locker. So you have some modes to take this off the pavement. And you have a really capable truck. Really no blind spots either because of how small it is. But now let's go ahead and get this manual Taco out on the road. And everything else is what you would expect to see in a Tacoma, but let's do another minor acceleration for this. I'm not getting high in those RPMs at all, but just a nice mild acceleration. It's easy to go through the gears. The one thing that I will say, I'm not a huge fan of first gear in this truck, and I tried doing some starts from second. It kind of bogs down and of course is not really meant for starting up from a standstill. First gear is a little bit quick, it seems. By the time you're going 15, 20 miles an hour, you're ready for second gear, but it doesn't feel like you're getting up and moving. So I almost need like 1.5 gears before second, first and a half. It's interesting, and I'm wondering if re-gearing the manual would make that change a little bit different. I re-geared my automatic and I saw a huge difference. So possibly a re-gear for the manual, since they won't be making it any longer. I think that would make this just a little bit easier to drive, especially from first and second gear. Now, as far as pricing goes, again, about 40 grand for this truck. I really don't think that is unreasonable for what you're getting. I've seen a lot of comments, you can get into a full-size truck for that money. You're also getting into a base full-size truck for that money, and it depends on what you are using your truck for. I love off-roading. I can't do that in a full-size truck where I live. I have really tight, small, narrow trails where a mid-size truck is your only option. So yes, it's a lot of money when you compare it to a base full size, but you can get some pretty loaded mid-size trucks for that range. As far as the competition for this Tacoma, Colorado, the GMC Canyon, we have a few others as well, Nissan Frontier. Personally, I think this is the nicest of all of them. I think you get the most for your money with the Tacoma. You also get the highest resale value. I could probably sell my 2017 for more than I paid for it back in 2017 in today's market. So 50,000 miles later, I pretty much have a free Tacoma. So that is one big reason. If you are worried about what you will lose, you're not gonna lose anything hardly in a Tacoma. So I love that. For 40 grand, you're gonna get pretty much your 40 grand back, even with a higher mileage vehicle. So they retain a lot of their value. And just driving this out on the road with my 50,000 miles plus experience behind Tacomas, I truly like them. I don't necessarily like the stock suspension. It's very kind of soft and floaty, which does give it a good ride. I like it a little bit stiffer, but this is great for the factory truck. Very quiet too, really no road noise or wind noise. And it handles like you would expect for a pickup truck. You're not gonna be taking corners extremely fast, but it's definitely a great daily. A little bit on the smaller size. I think the next gen might have a little bit a larger backseat area, maybe some more leg room, a little bit of headroom possibly. So it'll be cool to see. So if you are looking to get a manual Tacoma, you want a bright, bold color like this electric lime, is this your last chance to get it for 2023? Before I think they ditched the manual, unfortunately. But that is going to wrap it up for this walk around review and test drive in the manual Tacoma, a dying breed, unfortunately. So get them while they last. I hope you enjoyed today's video though. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button. I will see you all in the next video.